how to put on that weight in a healthier way, rather than just like rushing, eating fast food, trying to put it on. So I mean, I just listened to what she said and now put the weight on.
What'd the diet become? What'd you eat more of?
It became like a protein, more protein, but it was also like a mixture of like vegetables and stuff too. So it wouldn't just be all fat.
What do you think that extra weight's going to help you to do? They wanted you to put it on for a reason. Why?
I mean, I know last year I kind of struggled with the run, and I know putting on that weight, I kind of PR'd in every aspect this summer. So I mean, I feel myself getting stronger. I feel healthy. I feel bigger.
Jimari, turnovers are a big conversation in the offensive side of the ball, but defense can play a factor in increasing that turnover margin as well. How do you guys maybe address that in just some of the toxic stuff?
Well, it really was like, so in practice we try to get the ball out as much as possible, so when it comes to the game, the offense don't have to worry about that.
And there's, I guess, just from a mentality standpoint, what goals are you guys maybe setting from a defensive standpoint to take with this?
I mean, we got to be better at taking the ball away. We was good at getting stops, but taking the ball away, I don't think we had that many. We had a lot in certain games, but I feel like it was moments where if we took the ball away, it would have for sure put the game away.
Coach White talked about how you guys are approaching this season as if you hadn't done anything last year. How's that mentality going into this camp really refresh you and feel like a new season almost?
I mean, it's a clean slate for anybody. I'd say just building off what we know we can do, coming in confident but not like arrogant, because that's usually what tends to happen.
Utah and Nash have been here for a while, and what kind of statement do you think you guys as a group can make coming into this season about the ceiling of your room?
I mean, ceiling is, you can put anybody out there, like I said. So, I mean, really just coming in, doing what we do, what we know we can do.
The elite list stuff that you guys have, what goes on? How do you get your name on there?
Yeah.
So how does that happen?
So it goes into all aspects, not just football. It goes to if you're missing or making your meals, study hall hours, recovery, like we getting extra recovery in. Also, you have to do good in the workout too, but it's more of the off the field stuff than on the field.
Is that a point of motivation or pride when your name shows up on there?
I mean, yeah, because that means you're doing everything right. Not everybody is on that list, so I take pride in it when my name is on it.
You take some time to figure out kind of what the standard is so you can achieve something like that, or was that for you?
I say for the younger guys, yeah, because they don't know. They don't know how you'll work out and then you gotta recover. Like most of them didn't know that, so I feel like having that elite list, it kind of taught them the way of that.
When you guys are like talking pass rush, which coach in the program do you go to bounce ideas off of or learn from in terms of just getting better as a pass rusher?
T-Night, for sure. Yeah, Coach T-Night, because I mean, he been there, he did it at the highest level. We sit in and watch film with him on like in the NFL, we watch like all the sacks, like different type of sacks. So whether it's they want on the inside move or they want on the spin, like he divide all that up. We just watch it.
Do you notice, I guess, from being with him for another year or another spring and another off season, do you notice yourself improving in that aspect, or how do you kind of see that building of skills?
Yeah, I definitely see it. Cause I go back and watch like our old practices a lot, just to like compare the differences, like how I move and stuff. And I'm definitely seeing the difference as far as like my flexibility and my get offs.
As far as the defensive line, you guys have had the most continually coming over from last year. Do you take like responsibility in that, saying, "Hey, we're all back here. We need to step up and lead the rest of the defense"?
Yeah, because I feel like games are won in the trenches. And, we can come back and be even better than we already were. That'll be major.
Jimari, speaking of the NFL, having some guys like Ty Robinson and Isaac Gifford that had potentially opportunities to come back and be leaders, just where is that maybe a big boost for the team this fall?
I mean, it's good because we got the experience. Gifford and Ty, they played a lot of football. So just having that experience and having them out there, it's a confidence booster. And it kind of helps me in a way because I didn't see them like grow throughout this program. So knowing that they came back for another year just to play when they didn't have to, that was good.
Jimari, Terrence Knight told me in June that after the Michigan game last year, you and Fedoni were the ones who really stepped up leadership. Why did you decide to do that?
Cause I know, like that was probably the hardest practice of my life. Like, yeah, that was probably the hardest practice of my life. You just kind of seen the fear in everybody else before we even went out. So I kind of gave a speech. I was like, if y'all not gonna take it serious, like, I'm not against you. Like, just don't come out, cause we know what type of day it's gonna be. We end up, I think it was like 96 plays. We didn't leave the facility. I didn't get home until 12 a.m. So, I mean, that was a big eye-opener for me, just seeing how everybody looked at me as I spoke up.
What was your message? That this is a kind of a scary day, or what was your message?
So we went in, we watched one play, and then he just said, y'all meet me on the field. So as we're like walking down to go on the field, you just kind of feel the vibe.
Yeah.
You just kind of feel everybody scared. So after we got done with the warm-up, Coach Rule wasn't even there. He was in the middle, he was outside in the middle of the field just waiting. And I kind of seen the fear in everybody's eyes, and I was like, I'm not against nobody. If this is not what you want to do, like, you don't have to come out. But I'm going out there. So it was just kind of, yeah.
Thank you.
Talk about all the leadership you guys got coming back in defense, especially in the front. Is there kind of just a chip on your shoulder you guys have coming into camp?
Oh, yeah, it's definitely a chip on our shoulder. Because we know that we were a top defense. But, I look at the media. I don't try to really get into it, but I look at it and I see how they talk about us. So it's definitely a chip on my shoulder this year.
How's the media talk about you in your mind?
I mean, I feel like we was a great unit, and we don't get the respect for that.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
How much better? I mean, how much better can it be in your mind?
In my mind, I feel like we need to take the ball away more. I feel like that was our biggest. That was one of the things we weren't that good at. So I feel like this fall camp, that's going to be one of the focal points.
How much, I can remember talking to you as a freshman, how much have you changed your body since the time you got here? I mean, what weight, all that?
Oh, yeah. This the craziest. This is probably the most I weighed since I've been here. So people don't know, I played the whole last year like 230.
230.
Yeah, so this is definitely the most I weighed.
What do you weigh?
Whole life. I can't say that right now. I can't say that. It's up, though. It's up.
Okay.
Not to pit you against your teammates at all, but last year it seemed like you guys got 3 and outs, turnovers constantly, but then you were right back on the field if the offense couldn't get anything going. Knowing that it could be improved this year, how does that feel? Almost like getting rewarded for your guys' efforts on the defensive side of the ball?
I mean, it got to a point where we were like, no matter what happens, we just gonna go out there and get a stop. For instance, like Illinois' game, go out there and get a turnover, we go back out. Like, we're hyped to go back out there. Just knowing we get another opportunity to attack something, I feel like that was big for us.
Throughout camp, will the Colorado game kind of be in the back of your mind at all? Obviously, you guys try to take it kind of 1 week at a time, but will that, just with the magnitude of that game, will kind of be floating back there a little bit?
Nah, nameless faces opponents. That's how I look at it. I mean, they put on their equipment just like we do. I don't see no opponents.
You said you played last year at 230. I mean, how hard is it to set an edge in the Big Ten at 230?
It was a struggle for sure. It was definitely hard, but I feel like my adrenaline rushing kind of helped with that.
I mean, playing at a bigger weight, how much easier will it be for you to be out there 3 downs versus maybe having to come off at certain points and things like that?
Oh yeah, it's gonna be big. I kind of seen the change in the spring, because usually I'd come out on like short downs, but kind of just as I was gaining weight through the spring, I kind of got more comfortable being out there on those like 3rd and 2. So I feel like that's gonna be a huge step for me.
What is the leadership dynamic up front for you guys? I mean, all 3 of you are veterans. All 3 of you have been around. So how does it work as leaders?
It's really whoever got the hot hand at the moment. That's kind of how I look at it. Like if I'm bullshitting and Ty and Nash, they on their stuff, they gonna call me out. But it's transparency up front. We all call each other out.
Did you see the Illinois game? I think might have been a turning point for you in terms of the leadership. I don't know if that was like a growth moment for you where you really started getting more comfortable in that role. Is that sort of where things started to just take me back to those moments?
Oh yeah, that was kind of where things went to change for me, because we had that Sunday practice, and that whole week was probably the hardest week of my life. You know, I've had confidence going into the games. I'm like, we basically played 2 games. We played Michigan in the 10th round, did 96 plays in practice. So I was like, we basically playing 3 games in 1 week. And it was a big confidence booster going into the games. So I was just ready to play at that point.
Why was that week the hardest of your life?
I don't even know how to explain it. It was just a you had to be here moment. It was very hard. Although it was football, Coach Rule kind of tested us as men. In that kind of game, I respect even more.
Yeah, that moment could have gone a completely different direction with Coach Rule having that practice and everything. Instead, it went the way it went. I mean, how often do you guys think about that or talk about that?
I mean, for us to accept the challenge that he was kind of, hinting at, I feel like it kind of brought us closer as a team. Because after I gave that speech and said, if you don't want to be here, like, you can leave, nobody left. And everybody was out there getting reps, practicing. So, I mean, that was amazing.
So you say 96 plays? Is that like live play? I mean,
everything was live. Everything was live.
When people ask you about turnovers, as a player, how conscious are you of, like, in the middle of the game when you guys need to kind of get the momentum back, trying to force turnovers and make plays to defend the game and kind of turn the momentum back in your favor?
I mean, me playing D-line, I know it's going to be kind of harder, to get turnovers. So I know, like, the sacks change games. So whenever I was, like, getting a sack, I was conscious of, like, trying to get the ball. As far as me just, like, chasing the ball, like, coming on the backside angle, I would try. But most of my tackles were, like, 10 and 2, like, inside the box. So it was kind of hard.
Coach Rules talked about getting 20 takeaways. I think Ty Robinson last week said 40 sacks last year was the team goal for you guys. What are any team goals or individual goals for you as far as sack numbers or takeaway numbers?
No, I mean, we're really going to try, because last year we had 33, so we kind of failed at that. So we're going to try to get that 40 this year.
So same 40 and
same 40 and 20.
You guys talk about 20 takeaways as the number.
Yeah,
Can you talk about how maybe the culture shift from when Rule first got here into where you guys were at with that heading into camp last year versus this year?
I mean, last year it was a kind of, I felt like it was more of a players versus players type of thing. Like when something go wrong, you'll see people blaming each other, arguing and that type of aspect. But now when something happens, everybody cheering on. So like when defense mess up, offense yelling at us. When offense yell up, and when offense mess up, we yelling at them. So it's kind of an iron sharpen iron mentality now.
Along with that, who's been toughest matchup for you on the, I guess going back to spring ball, toughest matchup O-line wise?
Probably Micah.
Yeah. Why is that?
Micah for sure. Yeah, he's just a dog, man. He everything you want in the O-lineman. He's a great guy. He has a high motor. He's a dog.
I want to ask about principal. Obviously, a lot of talent. What do you feel like he needs to do as a young guy to take the next step? And maybe what have you kind of talked to him about in terms of getting better as a player?
I mean, so this spring he kind of sat out with his shoulder injury, but I was telling him, even though he's out, he still need to kind of lock in. Although you're not playing, you can still lock in and pitch yourself making the plays. I mean, he has a high ceiling. He's athletic, he's a freak. So, I mean, as far as him just understanding the game more and understanding situations, that'll be his biggest step.
It's not easy for a young guy, right? To when they're hurt and they're probably frustrated that they don't get to be out there. Did you experience that yet early in your career?
My first injury was the last fall camp when they didn't play in Minnesota, so I didn't really go through that. So I can't tell him how to feel about it, but I do try to lead him in the right way.
You had mentioned, bulking up to gain weight in terms of against the run. What was some of the eye-opening experiences you had against Big Ten offensive lines last year that taught you, hey, I've got to get a little bit more weight on me?
So far as when we play a team, we watching film on them throughout the week, I would watch how the other team played them in the run, seeing how some of those guys held their own, and then we'll go out and play the game, and I'll watch my film and kind of compare it. Which they say comparison is a thief of joy, so don't do that. But
right.
I kind of did that just to see. I seen how I was holding up and how they was holding up, and there was a difference.
All right, that's all the time we got for Jimari. Yep.
Thanks, Jimari.
Thanks, Jimari.
Thanks, Jamar.
Yep, y'all have a good one.